weeks before he travels to Singapore for summit talks with United States President Donald Trump, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has reportedly replaced 3 of his top military officials. South Korea's Yonhap news agency has reported that the defense chief Park Yong-sik, the chief of the Korean People's Army, General Staff Ri Myong-soo, and the director of KPA's General Political Bureau, Kim Jong-gak, have been replaced. South Korea's Unification Ministry, however, has confirmed only about the replacement of 1 official.
공식적으로 확인이 된 거는 총정치국장 김숙일 총정치국장으로 확인이 됐고요. 나머지 그 인민무력상하고 총참모장은 공식적으로 확인이 되지 않았습니다.
This comes weeks after reports in the American media that the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was wary of making the long journey to Singapore for the summit talks. It was reported that the Kim wanted to ensure that there is no trouble at home, including the possibility of a coup during his foreign trip. And I'm joined by Palki Upadhyay, Associate Editor from Newsroom. Palki, tell me, is it just paranoia or it's the fact of life in the North Korea?
Well, North Korea has seen some shake-up at the very top, and Kim Jong-un is known to be the man who wants complete control and is not. It doesn't rely very much on people outside his family. So that's one of the factors. And these reports have been coming out for a long time. Remember, he hasn't gone out of the country except for the 2 meetings that he's had with Xi Jinping in the last couple of months. For the last 7 years since he took power, he's not really left North Korea. And there might be detractors. This is an army state. There might be detractors. There might be people who feel that meeting the American president is not the wisest course of action. So he's preempting that. But a lot of interesting developments have happened which have in a way elevated his stature. He was a man who was once believed to be one of the most isolated leaders in the world. Today, he's a leader for whom many world leaders are lining up, including Russian President Vladimir Putin and, of course, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. So, Kim Jong-un is, of course, keeping into account all of that and how the global political equations are changing and how his team responds to that. So I believe that he's taken this decision, but very little comes out in terms of facts from North Korea. So this is all open to conjecture.
Well, this could be a propaganda or fact, but we have no way of knowing either way. For now, the story goes like this. Days ahead of the much talked about summit between the US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The Washington Post has reported that the North Korean leader wants someone else to pay his hotel bills in Singapore. The Post reports that the Kim has chosen the 5-star Fullerton Hotel near the Singapore River for his stay during the summit. The presidential suite there costs more than $6,000 a night. While Kim would like to stay at the Fullerton, Trump would most probably stay in this hotel, the Shangri-La. This is the place that hosts the high-profile security dialogue where Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the keynote speaker last week. Like this Fullerton, the Shangri-La too is a 5-star hotel and one of the most prominent addresses for high-profile meetings and events. But the Post has quoted sources as saying that the Trump-Kim talks may be held not at these 2 venues but at the relatively secluded Capella Hotel on the island of Sentosa. So it's the logistics of the summit that's being worked out these days. And citing sanctions, the cash-strapped North Korean regime has apparently asked a foreign country to foot Kim's bill at the hotel. The Post says the unexpected request came up before the team of US officials who were in Singapore to prepare for the summit. So far, there is neither a confirmation nor a denial from the North Korean side to the reports, but the Post quotes sources as saying that the US may ask the host country, Singapore, to pay Kim's hotel bill. The international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons too has reportedly offered to pay on behalf of the North Korean regime. Nuclear disarmament is a big theme at the summit, and so is. And moving on in the bulletin, going back to my colleague Palki. Palki, is it a reality which is being stated through a request, or it is like USSR when the American or the CIA, they had no idea that the country would collapse, and they had given a long perspective as to how USSR should be contained. So my basic question is, the fact that they cannot pay just goes on to show that despite being reclusive and nuclearized, the state in itself is in shambles.
Well, the state is in a shambles, and that is something that has been borne out by very many reports that have come out of North Korea. But remember, this discussion is based on one report in one newspaper, that's the Washington Post, and they're also quoting sources. So the North Korean regime has not said that, yes, we are not willing to pay the hotel bill. That's point number one. Point number two, for a country that has apparently tested nuclear weapons and hosted international journalists to witness the demolition of a nuclear testing facility, it's very hard to believe that they cannot foot a bill of $6,000 a night for one hotel. So if at all the North Koreans decide to do this, they'd probably just be trying to test the patience of the Americans or needle Donald Trump. Beyond that, I find it very hard to believe that they cannot pay the hotel bill for their supreme leader, who travels in a limousine, has a palatial house that he lives in, and has the best of the world, has gone to study in Switzerland. Yes, the average North Korean is not having a very good life, and their economy is in a shambles, crushed by the sanctions imposed by the United States. But I would find it a bit of a stretch to imagine that the North Koreans cannot pay for Kim Jong-un's hotel stay in Singapore. Having said that, the Americans cannot do it because they'll have to change their legislation. So it all comes down to Singapore. It's not a country that's known to do favors without getting anything in return, but we'll have to see. 12th is still more than 10 days away.